How do you define semiotic building blocks structuring visual communication? Hands up who just illustrates or designs. Which of you look at the brief and know immediately what you will do? How do you know it will answer the brief? I know I am answering a question with more questions, so let us discuss how to ensure you effectively visually communicate from the first mark you make. Welcome to Semiosis 101 Season 3's 11th episode on applying semiosis sign action to enhance your skills at visually communicating. If you've watched Semiosis 101 episodes before, then you will already know I am Dave Wood. I use Semiosis 101 on YouTube, Patreon and Substack to provide a designer-centric translation of Peirce's semiosis. Why do you need Semiosis 101? Peirce's writing and terminology is very obtuse. On Semiosis 101, I translate Peirce's brilliant theory into language creatives will understand and can follow. After all, we study design and illustration and not philosophy, so we need a theory centered to creatives' needs. Yes, this is why you need Semiosis 101. Season 3's semiotic theme is semiotic encoding, with a focus on how audiences make interpretations. What this season's theme means to you as visual communicators is that at long last you will see what semiotic signs can be, are, and will be. We will build your confidence to encode semiotic sign action into your own designs or illustrations during your own ideation phase to enhance visual communication. We have already discussed at length in the first few episodes how in semiosis the interpretation effect of the semiotic representation on the interpreter is crucial for creators to be aware of. The first moment of something visually becoming something else in the mind of the target audience happens in the perception state that Peirce calls firstness. This is only a visual possibility of greater meaning. Hit subscribe to this YouTube channel and I will explain. To emphasize this semiotic encoding of the possibility of greater meaning, let me quickly refer back to the panda illustration example I used so far. Not to analyse the drawing in semiotic terms, but instead the assumption interpretation that when we see a drawing of a panda, it is a panda. Surely a drawing of a panda is a panda. Some of you may be shouting at me right now, but regular viewers and my students know I am tricksy. So when is a drawing of a panda not a panda? Some of you say when the panda drawing is symbolic of something else, such as the WWF organisation. Here the panda is a logo representing not only the World Wildlife Fund, but all endangered animals. But how else can a panda illustration not be a panda? A drawing of a panda will not be seen as a drawing of a panda if the interpreter does not know what a panda is. To the illustrator or designer who has created the panda drawing, they know what a panda is, what a panda looks like, and so assume the target audience will also recognise the drawing as a panda. But at this stage, semiotically, the interpretation is only a possibility that it will be interpreted as a panda. This is what Peirce means when he frames this interpretive moment as rhematic, a rheme. Semiotically, the lines and shapes that define the shape of the beast are working hard to point the interpreter to the interpretation of panda. These lines and shapes, as we have seen in many previous episodes, are semiotic iconic representations. Iconic representation is the lowest level semiotic encoding, the lowest level of semiotic representation of a concept in sign action. In Semiosis 101, I draw the comparison between Peirce's icon to the basic visual building blocks designers and illustrators use. Think of every line, shape, mark, colour, stroke, etc. as a visual communication building block. We are considering here the micro level of how illustrations and designs are created. Composited together, more complex things are created. Each of those micro decisions has the capacity to be semiotically encoded as meaning bearing. How? Consider the black blobs in the drawing, formed in one way to suggest an ear and formed in another way to suggest a leg. A black line stroke in a particular way to suggest a back of an animal. See? You are already semiotically encoding possible interpretation. This happens at the immediate state of effect of this representation on the interpreter. As iconic representation only suggests the possibilities that familiarities could mean something more, the effect on the interpreter of what this something could also be is classed by Peirce as immediate. Let us consider this with an example that is not a panda. I am a Scouser. I am from Liverpool, in England. I am a Scottish citizen. I live and work in Scotland. I am a New Scot. I am a Scout Scot. Get it? Semiosis 101 is a sub-brand of Scout Scot, and Scout Scot's visual identity is of two liver birds against a saltire flag. The liver bird is semiotically symbolic for Liverpool. The saltire is the national flag of Scotland. The saltire is semiotically symbolic for Scotland. The saltire is blue, the birds are red. So let me unpack the visual communication building blocks of Scout Scot's logo. Blue-red, white cross on blue, white cross on a blue background, red birds comprised of swirls and shapes. Each of these visual building blocks composed together in a particular order become meaning-bearing. In the context of the individual constructed components, they have a contextual meaning. A diagonal cross across a background forms what is described as a saltire. A diagonal white cross across a blue background forms a cross of St Andrew, the patron saint of Scotland. A white and blue saltire like this has the encoded meaning-bearing power of indicating that this is a flag representing the nation of Scotland. So far, so good, we hope. The saltire is internationally recognised as the national flag of Scotland, but certain Spanish municipalities may also lay claim to it. That is the saltire part of the logo. That is the meaning-bearing context that the white cross on blue contributes to Scout Scot. But what are the birds? We can see the liver birds are stylistically constructed with individual visual communication building blocks. But what are they? We can see a shape with two legs, wings, tail, head and beak. This iconically suggests what most of us will recognise as a bird shape. We can say that the immediate effect of seeing all these swirling shapes in this composition suggests a bird. A bird shape standing proud with outstretched wings, with, in what we perceive as a beak, another shape which in turn suggests a plant. Well, what could this mean? We can say the immediate effect here is to suggest an interpretation of birds in the interpreter's mind. This is where, semiotically speaking, the interpreter and the creative precariously wobbles. Is it a bird? Is it a particular type of bird? What could it be? Semiotically, if the interpreter arrives at the interpretation of bird, the mark making has had a successful immediate effect on the interpreter. It is a bird, and the interpreter has taken the suggestion of the known visual qualities of a bird and decided they are looking at a bird. Job's a good one. Well done creative, and well done interpreter. But hang on, that is not all the meaning, is it? No. The creative, me, is visually communicating more. The bird has more meaning bearing to reveal. But what? As the interpreter, what are we missing? Some of you may see a familiarity in the bird shape to a football team. Some of you may think those birds have a resemblance to Liverpool FC's team emblem, and you will be fairly accurate. The red football team from Liverpool indeed uses a single liver bird, but there are two birds here. The shared iconic shape of the birds mediates an interpretive move from bird, by knowledge of the football team, to liver bird. Again, well done everybody, job's a good one. But hang on, if you all, as interpreters, did not know the contextual knowledge that on Liverpool's riverfront, atop of the port's grand liver building's twin towers, stand two birds, liver birds, you would never successfully interpret this at all. Up to the point of birds, this semiotic encoding remains at the iconic level of representation and the immediate effect of interpretation. But once the interpreter perceives the same iconic image as something, the representation then, to that interpreter, points them to the liver birds. We say this is indexically representing an existent thing, and now has moved from an immediate to a dynamic effect of moving from an interpretation of birds to liver birds. The rhematic possibility of birds has now moved to what Peirce calls the Dyson level of interpretation, from a semiotically suggested possibility of it could be to a proposal in the interpreter's mind that the birds are liver birds. With the interpreter's lived experiences, a design or illustration may or may not reveal deeper understanding of what is semiotically encoded. Come back next week when we will have an episode on how we can semiotically encode for a dynamic effect. P.S. My family are all Evertonian supporters. I am Dave Wood, a design educator and researcher, a published design author, and I've worked commercially as both a freelance illustrator and graphic designer. The guy behind the theory, Charles Sanders Peirce, was a philosopher, a mathematician, and a theorist, but he was not a creative. Each week on this Scout Scott Semiosis 101 YouTube channel, I will post at least one free 10-minute explainer episode on an aspect of Peirce's pragmatic semiotic theory. Each free YouTube episode features a take-home piece of applicable semiotic theory, and they do interconnect to build up your understanding of semiosis. Each free Semiosis 101 YouTube 10-minute episode will use design-centric terms instead of theoretical language. As well as the free YouTube episodes, I have 2 further Semiosis 101 semiotic resources you can subscribe to. Semiosis 101 producer roles are now available on Patreon. If you take out a paid Patreon Semiosis 101 patronage, you will get access to all the future season episodes months before they get published on YouTube. As a Patreon Semiosis 101 patron, you will automatically become a Semiosis 101 producer and get a name credit on all future YouTube episodes. Depending on which of the 4 producer tiers you choose, you will also get access to behind the scenes insights, cool Semiosis 101 Patreon merchandise, and other goodies for Semiosis 101 to continue making semiotic episodes. As a Patreon Semiosis 101 producer, you will be financially supporting the sustainable future of Semiosis 101 to keep explaining Peirce's semiotic theory. To become a Patreon Semiosis 101 producer, the link is in the description. I have a written semiotic resource available on the Semiosis 101 Substack. Here I have semiotic support materials for both free and paid Substack subscribers. There are full annotated reading lists, episode transcripts, 5-minute semiotic reads, plus other goodies and exclusive Semiosis 101 Substack merchandise. The Substack link is in the description. As a fellow creative and a published design author, I also have a link in the description to my main Scout Scott website. If you're interested in reading my semiotic Rosetta Stone academic writing, then you can visit my academia.edu link in the description. Any other books on Peircean semiotics or design I've mentioned in the episodes are also listed in the description. Check them out too. Thanks for watching. Check out the other Semiosis 101 episodes, like and share them with your friends. And hit the bell and subscribe buttons to be notified when next week's free Semiosis 101 episode is published. You can also follow Semiosis 101 on the socials for updates. It is at Semiosis 101 on Instagram and Threads. See you all again next week for more Semiosis 101 to help illustrators and designers to enhance your visual communication skills.